Morning, guys. Can you hear me? Okay, so before we begin this session today, can I ask for a quick favor? Right? So when I ask a question, is it possible for you guys to maybe answer and give me the reaction? I know it's a Saturday morning, and I know some of you just woke up, alright? But no worries. Just try the best to answer. Okay? So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, just to introduce myself. My name is Edward, and I'm from Theador. Okay, so our company is basically a HR consultancy, right? So some of you might be wondering, what's a HR consultancy, right? We are basically the middleman or the company to help students, candidates who are looking for jobs, and also companies who are looking for staff as well. Right? So we help to bridge these two parties together. Okay? So the reason we're here today, partly also we'd like to thank MAIC for inviting us today to share with you guys basically how to begin this journey. Right? So how many of you here are about to enter the society, enter the industry and start your first job? Anyone? Show of hands. No one. You guys are internship, going for internship. Okay. No problem. We can prep you up before that time comes as well. Okay? So this will be a quick overview about what we will be going through today. Right. Okay, so the whole session today is basically to get you to understand what to do or what you should be considering before getting a job or entering the workplace. So let's begin, shall we? Okay, so like I mentioned, we are basically a HR consultancy. So our company has slightly over 10 years of experience dealing with companies within IT sector, within banking sector, within manufacturing sector, pharmaceutical, right? And we help them to deliver on needs, resources, manpower needs. Okay, something that you guys might be new to. It might be a foreign idea to you guys, right? So just to share a few companies that we deal with, companies such as Peso, such as Bank Negara, South Bank, right? Jabatan Immigration. These are some of the organizations that we constantly work with. Okay, so before we start this whole session, before we get into idea of AIDS, right? So I just wanted to understand from you guys, what major was you guys from? Yes. What major all right, beauty and aesthetics, and this, you guys are from Sweden. Sorry, multimedia. All right, and for the behind, you guys are from? Yeah, the two gentlemen over there. Multimedia as well. Okay. All right. So this session, right, I'll be picking on some of you guys to answer some questions. I know you guys are reluctant, partly because we're also a live stream. We are recording this. Okay, but I want to understand because each industry has different requirements, right? The positions that you guys are going in, you guys are going to apply for, will be different from others, right? So the criteria, what people use to monitor, to judge you, to rate you, everything will be different. Which is why we will go into some more generic things and some that are a bit more specific. Okay? So so some of you might say, what if I'm not looking for a job right now? I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to start my own business. Will this session even benefit me? Alright? So there will be a few things that will still be relevant, it will still apply across the board. Okay. So in terms of definition, let me try to ask you guys, right? Uh, what is a job? What is a job? Okay. No idea. Okay. To you. To earn money. Okay, you're not wrong. There is no right or wrong answers to the questions here. So feel free to share what you think understanding is to any definition, to any term. Okay. So, all right. The job to some might be something to earn money. Okay. Not wrong. Really not wrong. Then, what is a career then? How is a career different from a job? This gentleman here? No idea. Anyone knows what's the difference between a career and a job? Anyone? Any show of hands? Okay, so let me explain. This is something that some people might not understand or they might not know what's the actual difference. It's so correlated, it's so similar, right? So how we see, or from our point of view, a career is something that stretches across a long duration. Okay, so some of you might say, I plan to work until I retire at the age of 55 and the age of 60. So when you step into the workforce at 20, last 23, maybe 25, you have 20 to 30 years to build your career. So this whole duration, this whole process, this whole journey is what we call a career. A job is maybe a one-time thing. It can be maybe you have experiences doing part-time jobs, things like that. It's a one-time employment. Okay. So to go further into this idea of career, I want you guys to look at these questions over here. Okay? Think about it. Okay, everyone think. So what do I need to do my work in? So the lady over there just now mentioned that the job to her is to earn money, to get a salary. Right? Some of you might have different goals by working. Some of you hope to achieve different things. Some say I want to gain experience, I want to gain more exposure, I want to climb the corporate ladder. Can be various of reasons. So to each their own. Each of you will have your own reasons. But think about it first, right? I'll get back to you guys on this one. So the next one is, where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years time? Have you imagined what you would look like, what you would be in 5 to 10 years time? It's a very abstract question. It's a very, it's open for you, open to your imaginations. Okay? Some people say, I can't even imagine what I look like tomorrow when I wake up. Some people who drink, get hangover. I don't even know what I would look like, whether I have a beard or a form. Right? So, 5 years time, try to imagine that. Because if you look at a career over 30 years, right, 5 years is actually relatively short. It's not even a quarter of that whole duration. Right? Okay, so when you look at 30 years, I would assume that most of you are not even 30 years away. Alright, you're not even that age. You haven't even lived to 30 years, and then you imagine your career being 30 years long. Alright, so it might be a very difficult concept. It might be a very alien idea for you to try to conceive. So how do you make sure you are making the right decisions in your career? Okay. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of retrenchment. Are you guys familiar with the term of retrenchment? Understand? Retrenchment is being let go by the company. It means you lose your job, you lose the employment. Because of the right? So this is a situation that happens in the industry. So how do you make sure or lessen the probabilities of encountering this kind of situation? How can you make sure you're always doing the right thing? Okay. So, final question is quite similar to the first one. What's my main aim of getting a job? Why? Why do you guys want to get a job? Why do you guys take up your diploma or degree? Ask yourself that question. Some say my parents forced me to. Why do you take the course that you're studying right now? Is it your interest? Is it because my friends decided to take this course, so I want to join them? Or is it because your parents forced me to? So, and how does that relate to what work, what job you guys are going to take up in the future? Think about it. Take some time to think about it. I mean, your parents might ask you this, your lecturers might never ask you this, because you guys are going for internship, going to graduate, right? Because, just to be very frank, when I was a student myself, I didn't think about these questions. Alright? So I will share a bit more about my background later on when we go through some story, some case studies. Alright, then maybe you start to understand a bit about the concept, a bit about my dilemma. Right? Okay. So in this session I will also try to give some tips, try to explain how you guys can actually get started on this whole journey, how to begin looking for a job. Alright? So some of you might just say, let's just wing it. Alright? I get a job, I get a job. I don't get a job, then I'll just wait for a job to come to me. Nothing wrong with that. Some people just want to get it done faster. Some people just wants to work sooner. So it depends on how you take it. Right? But one thing's for sure. Today, this session, I hope that this will open up your mind, let you think a bit more about what you want out of a career. It's very easy, okay, from our point of view, right? Because one thing, from the HR consultancy, we meet quite a lot of candidates on a daily basis. We meet people from fresh graduates up until people in their 40s, 50s looking for jobs. Okay? So from all walks of life, from different industries, we will speak with them, we try to understand, okay, so what sort of job you are looking for? Why are you looking for a job right now? Why are you considering or changing your company? Are you unhappy at work? Or are there any reasons has something happened to your job? Maybe you find it that it's not to your liking, you're not learning anything. So these are the situations, or these are the candidates that we speak to very frequently. Okay, so I hope with this session that you guys will also be able to start to have this concept. And when the time comes for you to start looking for a job, you might be able to remember a bit about tips or at least have the idea that this concept was brought up to you. Okay. So empowering is a very, I'll say, a very positive word. Okay. But throughout the session, I will also be frank with you guys. I will also share some concerns, some risks with you guys. So at least when you guys meet up into the workplace, you will know that there's this kind of situation, this thing might happen to me. Alright, so at least when the thing comes, it doesn't come as hard. It's like someone, if you guys are in a relationship, at least it's like your partner telling you, I'm about to break up with you, and not just SMS you and say, we are over. Right? So that's not the feeling I want you guys to have. Okay? So back to career. When you guys start to see career over a 30-year period, right? Is it difficult for you to imagine whether this will correlate with your life, with your lifestyle? Okay? Because think of it this way, you have 24 hours in a day. You have 24. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. Right? How many hours do you think you'll be working? 8, 9 hours? If let's say you start from 9 a.m. to 5, 6 p.m. Right? This is provided you don't work overtime. This is just purely 9. You get into the office at 9, you leave the office at 5 or 6. You don't work overtime. You still spend 8 to 9 hours at the office to your employer, to your company. That's really 1/3 of your life every day, 5 days a week. Some people work on some days, some work off hours. Right? But standard, I'll just use the standard as an example. So, how much of your life does your work take up? Alright? I'm not trying to scare you guys. This is just how it gets you. So, when you start thinking about this, will it affect your lifestyle? Some might say no, some will say that work is work. My personal life is my personal life. Once I leave the office, I will not bring work back home. Some people might say that. But some industries doesn't allow that. Alright? And with COVID happening, a lot of employment, a lot of people, alright, has started to go hybrid or work from home. Like you guys, I believe some of you guys actually studied from home during MCU, during the COVID period. Did that happen for you guys? Yes. Study from home. You did, right? So work has also been it has evolved. So if you are working from your home, a place where you live, how does that affect your life? Some people will just go in. Let me send out an email. Let me report to my manager. All right, straight away, dive in, look after their child. Those who are married, they have a child crying in the background. Right? So work and personal life has fully incorporated already this situation. That might not happen to you guys that soon. That might not even happen to you guys because of your specialization, because of your profession. But for some of you, it might. So think about it. Work, profession, is something that if it runs across 30 years, it very well affects your life. You start working at 20 plus, if you work until retirement at 50 plus, it's up 30 years of your life. So, if it's your life we're talking about, will you treat it seriously? Do you maybe want to start asking a bit more questions? Start to think a bit further about this life of yours, your professional life, your career life. Right? So this is a question I throw to you guys to think about. It's an idea. So all seriousness aside, okay? Let me start by sharing a bit of tips that we usually advise for candidates or even fresh grads on how they can prepare for this. Right? The very first one, if you can see on the slide there, is assessment. So assessment is a very generic word. What does assessment mean? Okay, let me ask this question. Back to something I mentioned a while back. All right. The course you are taking, is it relevant to the job you are looking for? You have the answer in your mind. All right. You might know the answer. You might not know the answer. Okay. If it's related or if it's relevant, good for you. Because it's something you learn, you might be able to apply immediately in your workplace. Right? Like those from multimedia, the ladies from multimedia, if let's say if you learn design work right now, you become a designer, you might be able to immediately apply your Photoshop skills, your Illustrator skills, or whatever, at your workplace immediately. You don't need to start from zero. So that's a good thing for you. I'd like to congratulate anyone who is able to do this. Okay? But if not, if you're looking into something new, or if you're looking into a position or a job, then when you read the description, when you apply for a job, uh, I don't know any of this. That's when you need to start asking yourself, you need to start looking what are my strengths and my weaknesses. Okay? This doesn't only apply to your skills. This also applies to what you want. Okay. So like I said, OT, a very sensitive topic. Some people like it, some people can accept it, some people might not. Alright? So some people will just outright say, I'm looking for a job that doesn't require me to work overtime. I have my reasons, I have my personal reasons for me to work only just 9 to 6 as discussed or as agreed with the company. So if you know you have this sort of requirements or this is something you expect, then you need to be prepared to look at your choices might dwindle a little. It might be less because you have specific requirements. Okay? And then the next thing is strengths and weaknesses. I think this is something that maybe your course, your studies have mentioned and brought up numerous times. And the strengths and weaknesses of every individual changes from time to time. What you were good at or what you were bad at years back might be different from years into the future. So always ask yourself, what is it that I'm good at? Whether it's something that I can apply in this job. Example right now, I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker, I'm here sharing my thoughts with you guys. And this position requires me to speak to people. If let's say my weakness, my personal weakness is communicating, is speaking. I can't even speak, or maybe I stutter. I have a personal stutter. But I want to be a trader. How do you think that will work for me? Maybe it won't go so smooth. Maybe. Alright? So this is not to demotivate you. In no way this is to demotivate anyone. This is just to let you have a better clarity, a better understanding of what you want to do versus what you have or what you like. So if let's say, for example, back to this idea here, right? You're studying design, but deep down you might not like designing. Maybe I'm just raising an example, right? You might not like it. So if you step into the workplace, you think maybe you tell yourself, this is what I study, this is what I know, this is what I'm good at. Okay lah, jalan lah, I go and take up design. After graduate, I become a designer. Example. But you dread that work, you hate it to the core. Do you think you will be happy working? Do you think you will be? You see, you're right now in an environment that lets you learn on a daily basis. You are consistently learning. You are surrounded by people who want to learn new things. In a sense, you are right now thrown to learn. If you don't learn, maybe your coursework, maybe your exams, you might not go through. You are forced to, in a sense. But in the workplace, no one forces you. That's one thing that I hope you guys start to understand. In the workplace, you might not have people forcing you to learn to improve. So what happens if you yourself don't want to improve? You are not happy doing what you are doing. Or maybe you tell yourself, you go into it, and then everyone else is better than you. What will your feeling be? So think about that, right? But at the end of the day, knowing your strengths will let you be more confident in the application process, in your work as well. You can speak to people proudly and say, this is something that I know. This is something that I'm interested in. I'm good at. Which is why I'm trying to get this job. Which is why I'm working with this. I'm serving this position. Right? Okay. So for exploration, moving on to the next one, exploration. Exploration is a process of trying to understand what is outside, what is beyond the walls of your university, of your campus, right? What is it actually going on the outside? Okay. So before I go into this point, anyone here has a mentor or any lecturer that they always talk to that can advise them on things. Right? Also, does it require you guys to answer? A question for you guys to ponder upon. Why I raise up this question? Because if you have someone who is able to share an idea that even you don't know, that would really help with whatever you're going into. Because right now you guys are in an education environment, you guys are learning. You are still, in a sense, not in a working environment. Those of you who might have worked part-time or maybe freelance jobs, those of you who might have worked before might slightly get the concept of working. You might understand it a bit better. Like some of you guys might be school workers as well. Right? So at least you know what reporting or answering to someone about your work feels like. Right? So exploring before you enter any company, before you start to apply for work, start to apply for jobs, for anything, it is, I would say, a basic courtesy, a basic respect to yourself, to the company, in case if they want to meet you, they want to interview you, anything. It's a basic respect. Imagine if you were to come to the interview, the interviewer asks you, do you know my company? What do you know about us? Why do you want to join us? You can just only say, alright? So, understanding what the company looks for, understanding what the job requires, all this will come under exploration. Alright? So, okay. Uh, this gentleman over here, you dodged a question just also, okay. Just want to ask you this. Do you have any job that you want to work as? Okay. Before that, what do we? Okay, so what is it that you want to do? Want to graduate? Yes. All right. So this gentleman here over here mentioned that he's looking for a graphic designer job once he graduates. He's from a multimedia background. Okay? All right. So multimedia graphic designer. Would you expect your job to be project based? That means, do you think you'll be doing projects? Doing projects, yes. Okay. So, this might be common knowledge. This might be general knowledge to some, but a lot of your coursework will be project related as well. Right? So, imagine that you go into a job You don't want it to be a project-based thing. It really differs from what you already understand, right? Because in university right now, you guys, everything that you guys consistently do might be primarily with the majority with project-based. But suddenly you go out, you look at the company, and they say, oh, we don't do projects. You just come in every day, you just deliver one up. Or you deliver one up. You do from beginning to end. You just keep doing, constantly doing one thing. Or maybe they ask you to upload to social media. And as social media manager, you just manage my social media page. So it breaks, it destroys your understanding, what you understand right now. But what if that is the actual society? Have you thought about it that maybe what you thought you understood might not be reality? Uh, that's what happened to mental health in this sense. Exploring, doing some research, doing some studies, just going right now, it's the age of the internet. You can just Google anything. Basically, I believe you guys Google everything. Okay? That's why there's a need for turning it. Okay? Back 10 years ago when I was studying, there was also a need for turning it. So, do more research work. Try to understand what is it you want to apply, what you want to look into. Or even what you can do. Let's say I say my course, okay, some people might even come to people have come to us and say that, okay, maybe I study computer science, or I study IT. What can I do? They really don't know what they can do. That means they don't know what their study is and how it will lead to their career. They don't know what are the options. You can actually do basic understanding, basic research online right now. There are plenty of websites, there are plenty of articles to explain them. But the thing is, you need to do your due diligence. You need to do your own homework when required. This is to let you avoid all the awkwardness, all the unnecessary risks that might pop up during the interview, or even when you're working. Because some interviews, right, they might be very so-called short and simple. It doesn't really let you understand much. It doesn't let the company understand much about you. And then they just say, okay, here you go. When can you start work? This is what I'm willing to offer. Just sign and you're part of our company. But it doesn't really let you know what you are signing up for. Some candidates also come to us saying, oh, I've signed this offer. I've already agreed to join this company. I'm supposed to start next month. But I have another offer now, but the second company wants me. I prefer the second company. So what should I do with this one? I actually don't want. I'm going to do with this company. So these are situations that might happen to you guys. Because some of you might have brilliant results. Some companies might even, you might have new companies wanting to hire you guys. I hope that's the case. So you might be in that position. So moving on to the third point, development. So once you have done self-assessment, once you understand a bit about what you can bring to the table or what you can do, once you start a job, start a career, and you understand what skills do I have. Like an example, I like to use an example of software, right? So for design work, Adobe Illustrator, with Photoshop, all these are basic requirements. Can I say that? Basic requirements, basic skill set. Right? So if let's say you want to be a designer, but you don't know Illustrator or Photoshop, you don't know how to operate this thing, what should you do? This is the very basic one. If let's say the skill set required is a bit more difficult, it's a bit more advanced. Maybe it requires you to do programming. You'll be thinking, what? I'm doing design. Why should I do programming? That's not happening as my life. Okay, just an example. So, what should you do? This is why I also mentioned the question. I mentioned the situation is right now you are in an environment where you guys are constantly learning. But does it have to stop once you graduate? And furthermore, right now with so many online courses, there's so many things you can study. You can do some study online. A lot of certificates are offered. Some technical skills. You can actually just YouTube. I mean, even in the Americas, people YouTube to go and learn how to make explosives, right? So, certain things are not wrong with science. You can always develop yourself, even after graduation. Even after maybe when you're 40 years old, you think, okay, my job needs me to know this thing. Just go learn it. Unless you say that, okay, maybe you have financial constraints or things like that, then okay, there's a whole different ball game, there's a different story altogether. But a lot of information, a lot of courses, a lot of teachings are actually available for free, right? So make use of it. And be happy, be grateful that you guys are with your friends right now to make you guys study. I'll put it away, make you guys study. Right? Some of you might not do assignments, might not study. Okay? But be grateful you have an environment to make you, to at least push you to do that. Because once you step up into the workplace, you might not have this privilege anymore. Alright, so all things said and done. Right now, if let's say, alright, I've prepped everything. I really understand what I can do, what the job I'm applying for requires me to do. You prepare the CV and everything already. Alright? So you submit the CV. Oh, someone replies because you interview me. So what happens now? So for you guys are about to enter the country. So I presume you guys have and then okay, I expected as much. So this is to let you guys prepare for an interview. Right? Trust me, I've never been to this kind of session when I was in uni. Alright? So I had to I could learn all this all by myself. I didn't even know how to prepare a CV, how to attend an interview, how to even send an email with my CV to get an interview. I had to learn all this all by myself. Right? So I made a lot of mistakes. So hopefully you guys can learn something about this. Alright. So for us, because we meet candidates quite frequently, so there are a few things that I personally, when I'm an interviewer, I will look at. So they say that first impression lasts is definitely true. From the moment a candidate walks into my office, walks in through the door, I will start to pay attention to everything, like literally everything. Your dressing, your body posture, your non-verbal behaviors, everything. So if you didn't take a shower that morning and came into the office, everyone will take notice. You might not notice it. Everyone else will. So pay attention to. There's a few things that we generally pay attention to. Okay? Those are more observable stuff. Things that I mentioned earlier more prominent. It's something that as long as you stay at the person long enough, you might be able to do this stuff. Okay? So next comes things that only we can discern or we can realize all of this once we start speaking to the person, right? So attitude, attitude makes a whole lot of difference. So greetings, common courtesy. I also hope this interview is also a representation of who you are as yourself personally. So by doing all this, it's not you're trying to show just respect for the company or the interviewer. It's a respect of yourself as well. Because you might never know that 10 years down the road, you might be applying for this very same company again. Imagine you land a job at, maybe you land an interview at Apple, Google, those big companies, right? Those renowned companies. They might keep a record of your personal data. As in, they will make a record saying that, okay, this person came in to interview with us in year 2023, year 2024. So 10 years later, you might be interested in applying at that very same company again. They will have a record of you. So imagine if you go to tell the interviewer you are rude to me, or you go tell me to go do whatever vulgarities. It might be recorded. Record is the least of your concerns. Imagine if you talk to the interviewer and they do hire you, they take you in, you got the job, but that person is your reporting manager, he's your superior. How is he going to look at you? You're going to deal with him, you're going to look at him. 8 hours every day, Mondays to Friday, sometimes even Saturdays and Sundays. And you were rude to him during the interview. You were not at the best condition during the interview. You were not showing your best self. So this is something to pay attention to. Your looks, your presentation, everything, your mannerism, your words, questions, all this counts in an interview. Okay? So, and one more thing that I missed out actually, even before the interview, you guys have prepared CV, a curriculum vitae on your profile, okay, to introduce who you are. From our industry or some of the clients, companies that we spoke with, this might be just a paper to you. It might be just one A4 paper full of words in Times New Roman, font size 11 or 12 to you. But to them, it's a introduction before they even meet you in person. Whatever I describe about the interview can only happen if you get the chance to see them face to face, or even through Zoom or through Teams. That is if you are given a chance. How do you get the chance? If let's say you don't even have the chance to justify, to explain, your CV does all that. So putting some effort into your CV is also a respect. It's a form of respect for yourself. It's also something that will increase your chances of getting shortlisted, getting chosen for an interview as well. So there might be some saying, I'm not sure if you guys have heard it. Some people will say that a CV shouldn't be too long. It should be short, a one-pager kind of thing. It should all fit in one page. Some people will say, I can't fit it into one page. I just have too much things to write. Just my projects alone, just my involvement, just my curriculum activities alone takes up more than 2, 3 pages. What about my certs, my certificates? So how I would usually tell how many days is that just write things that are relevant to what you are applying for. If you're trying to be a designer, maybe your experience working as a cashier might not be that necessary. Maybe your skill sets, what you know, will be more relevant to the interview. They see that you know Adobe, okay, the full package. I might even know a bit of Vega, video editing. All this might be more useful than your experience as a part-time cashier in the house. So this is something for you guys to decide, okay? But then again, a disclaimer. If after this talk there is a lot of things that maybe I plant the idea I raised up anything, and you guys don't understand it, uh, my team and myself will be over there, so you guys can just come over and we can share a bit more detailed information about things that you guys might share. Right? So it's for you to decide what do you want to put in, how much will you put in, whether it's relevant. The most important thing that you should be thinking about when writing a CV is how interesting this might be to my interviewer, to my boss, to my future supervisor. If you're going on and on about curriculum, maybe correct. Some of you might be very active in curricular activities, club activities, right? But if you just too much information, and you think that okay, this might not be that important, then maybe you should remove it. Yes, it's a very good thing to highlight. It's a very good thing to write out. But if maybe you're planning one page, then you just have to tell yourself, maybe just not this version. Maybe I'll prepare a long version and a short version. If you think that that's really okay. So that's just the general concept of preparing an interview. Just the main concept that you guys should have. So back to the interview itself. So what I shared just now is what we look at during an interview. But the interview, I mean, from our perspective, when I was a student, when I was in jobs, I always thought to myself, I'm not sure whether this resonates with you guys, right? What do I want to understand about the company? I kept thinking that to myself. Okay, so I come in, what do I do? What do you want me to do? What is my job? But this process is actually a two-way communication. It's for you to understand the company. It's also for the company to understand about you. So some people might have been taught to always try to say things that I can do to impress the interviewer. How we generally tell students or even candidates. Yes, during the interview, there are a lot of things that you can promise to deliver. You can say that, oh, when I come in, I can work 10 hours, I can work 12 hours, it's higher me, I want this job so bad. But when the work happens, that situation might be different. During the interview, they ask, so do you know this skill? Do you know this skill? Do you know this skill? Some people will just, to get the job, some people will just say, everything I know. Whatever you want me to do, I can learn. I know how to do. But the thing is, when the interview ends, if you get the job, the work starts. So when your superior asks you to do this given task, that during the interview you said you could do, or you knew how to do, but you can't deliver. Because in actual fact, maybe you have not know, maybe you might not be familiar. It's something that you just knew the concept of. Okay, that's when trouble arises. That's when trouble comes. So how we usually tell our candidates to attend the interview or to answer. So if let's say that you are in this situation, there's something that I might know, but I'm not that good, I'm not that experienced. Just truthfully tell it to the interviewer. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know how good you are. And if they still want you, they still decide to hire you at the end of the day, it means that they are willing to accept you at this stage or whatever you can do or whatever you can deliver. And they might want to improve on that. They might want you to be able to improve, to learn more, or even to develop this whole skill set that you might not know. So being truthful is it's a virtue. It's also something for you to better handle the interview rather than giving promises that when the work comes, you might not be able to fully perform. Alright? So, just as sharing, this is a case study. Okay? We actually spoke to a few candidates, say a few fresh graduates back in the class. So these students were IT students. Okay. So what they did, there were a few cases, same similar cases like this. So they came to us saying that I only want hybrid work. I only want fully work from home or hybrid work. I'm not even considering your normal report to office kind of thing. They had a lot of demands. They had a lot of requirements. And they even said that I don't want to work overtime. They were applying for software development like that. So the thing is, the whole issue with this concerns might be very normal. But the issue in this case was that you know that software developers usually have to work overtime. Not to say they have to work overtime, but it's very project basis. So when things come, it's like your assignments. When your assignment comes, you don't have a choice whether you want to work, you want to do it 15 hours every day. If let's say you only have 2 days to do, no matter how by hook or by crook, also you will finish it. That's their line of work. They don't really have a say in that. That's the company they're applying for. That's the project they want to be on. So this whole situation could have been avoided if they went and did some exploration to understand how the industry works, how the company works, what the company requires. Because they say, okay, I want to be on, for example, they wanted to be on Bank Negara's project, as an example. I want to be on Bank Negara, it helps my portfolio so much. I can write, I have worked in Bank Negara. Because they're really required to go to Bank Negara. But they came to us saying that I want to be on Bank Negara's project, but I don't want to go to, I don't want to be stationed in Bank Negara. I want to go for home. I also don't want to work on weekends. Another thing is, the situation didn't allow them to do that. So this whole thing is something I hope you guys also won't need to go through during your interview. Because I, as an interviewer back then, I didn't know how to answer them. I didn't know. I can't go and tell them in the face and say that, did you do your homework? Did you do some understanding about what we are looking for? I can't tell them that. So there was really nothing that I could reply like during in that situation. Right? So For interview, that's generally about it. The main concerns is just to be prepared, to attend it, and to be your best self. Respect yourself enough, respect the interviewer by preparing and looking at your best. Okay, so this is a bit, the conclusion will be a bit vague. So I promise you guys that I share a bit of my background. Okay, so my career was a bit of a turbulent one. Uh, for some of you out there play games, you might you might know the company Garrett. I was from there. I was from a gaming company. That was like very first job. Okay. And the thing is, I was from a comms background. I was from a communications background. I went into a gaming company thinking that, all right, let's play around. Let's just see whether I would like this company or not, whether I like this job or not. So I just went in. I think it was not even a year later when my internship supervisor came and approached me saying that you want to join a PR company, a public relations company. So I was thinking to myself back then, okay lah, something related to my studies. Maybe I can do better here. Maybe this might be my interest. So went into PR again. So I was in PR for slightly over a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then I felt, no, I don't really like it. After one over years, I told myself, nah, I don't really like this. Went back into the same gaming company again. Right? Really happy there. I went in thinking that, okay, this is a promotion. I became a senior. I finally explored and climbed the corporate ladder. So, I mean, those were really my concerns back then. Alright? So, awesome. And then 2 years later, retrenchment came. The whole company shut down their office. 95% of its staffs were let go. They lost their job overnight. No notice, no nothing. We were supposed to move office. We were literally packing our boxes, all our things in boxes, thinking we were moving office. We came over to the new office. The boss at the new office says, you guys can take your boxes and go home. Overnight. It literally happened overnight. 95% of the company lost their job. It's very blue, alright? I understand this whole story, this retrenchment thing, it's a very bleak, very blue kind of situation. Very depressing. But this is something that happens. And if I were to ask myself, I would have made a better career decision during my earlier years. So, and I hope that this is something you guys will need to go through, that you guys can make good decisions. But at least, before making decisions, at least you know these are some things that I might need to consider. It's not just purely, okay, some things, it's a bit more, I would say, complicated, right? Facebook, the relationship status is complicated. Things are a bit more complicated. You guys are now leaving you. Start to think more. How do you consider it? Okay, no problem. Actually, there was another slide I found this. It was actually on how to make decisions. So just like I said, some of you might have a few job offers. Some of you might be lucky enough to have a few companies come and approach you. Here's a job, 4,000 basic salary. Here's one, 3,500. Okay? So if you have a few, what should you consider before accepting a job? We have candidates, we have people joining companies, work there for 10 to 12 years, 15 years, and still continue working on. That might be you, that might not be you. So before you embark, before you join a company for 10 years, okay, 10 years might be a bit long, 5 years, how can you make sure that you yourself will be happy to join this? So before this whole question, this whole consideration comes from, some people will say, I'm not happy at leave, like change company, right? That's one way to resolve the issue. But I just would like to put it forward that if let's say you constantly change jobs, those like maybe like even for myself, less than a year to change job, like 2024 maybe like, right? 2024 January you enter company A. June 2024 you enter company B. January 2025 you enter company C. It's all in your CV. It's all written there. So what will companies think about you when they hire you? You're both looking at your profile and like, all right, based on your track record, I can see that in a year and a half you have joined 3 companies, averaging 6 months in each employment. Can I expect you will do the same to me in my company? That's what track record says. You can't deny that. It's like a history, it's like a browsing history. You have the tendency to do that. I believe that you will do that for me as well. So this is something to pay attention to. This is just to let you guys know that what interviewers will think about you when your profile is written. So job hopping, changing jobs constantly, might be good in certain situations, it might not be good in certain situations. For contract jobs, some people will say that I joined the company, our agreed duration is 1 year. I can prove it. So your next company will ask you, so why do you do this company for only 6 months or 1 year? Well, it was a 3-year agreed contract. I've already told them that I'll be here for 6 months. I'll provide my service to them for a year. Then I'll look for something else. Okay, fair enough. Imagine this, if you were in a relationship for just 3 weeks, you tell your friends what would they think about it. I mean, it's the same as a job. So to a certain extent, it's the same. If it's so short, people will start to think, was there something wrong? It's very normal. Frankly speaking, this is exactly what reporting managers will think about. Even the parents will think about you that way if the relationship was 1 day long. You ain't done it. Ma, boyfriend, girlfriend already. Next day, hey, ma, I broke up already. I've had one staff that joined for literally 1 day. True story. So it's literally the 1 day breakup story, it's real, right? But if you were to put that in your CV, it might look bad. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this might not be the optimal solution for certain situations. So when you are writing a CV, or maybe one day when you are very angry, you don't want to work anymore, you want to quit, then you look at the CV. I just joined 7 days ago. This, but just mind you, I'm not telling you to bear any unhappiness or things that can intolerable situations in the company. If it's really bad, then maybe you might need to figure out a way to solve it. I'm just letting you know that on paper, on your CV, how people will see it. But then again, if you have a reasonable explanation, that is fine. Some candidates of mine, they are mothers. They took career break for maybe a year or two to take up to look after their child. So when they talk to the managers, they go to us, they were like, okay, that sounds perfectly legit. You have to take care of your child, you want to take a break, rest a bit, then come back to the job. All right, perfectly fine. So this is sort of things that you need to worry about. Worry, I use the word worry because I treat you guys as adults. Alright, you guys are stepping into adulthood. Some people consider yourselves adults. So, to be fair to yourself, start thinking about these kind of things. Start thinking about these topics. Start to think deeper. Okay? So, there are few things. Generally, when considering an offer, there are few criteria. The very first thing that comes to mind was like this lady mentioned just now: salary, money. No money, how to survive, right? Some people will put it that way. No money, how I makan? Makan pun tak cukup. But salary is not just the only thing that should be considered. That to be considered when looking for a job, a career pathway. If let's say some people tell me that I want to be a CEO of a company, some people's very ambitious, right? I plan to be a CEO when I'm 40 plus, 50 years old. Can the job that you apply for right now let you be a CEO? Uh, there is no fixated answer. And some jobs do allow them to get to a CEO, and some a bit more difficult. So that is something you need to think about. If let's say I say that I want to be a restaurant manager, for example, I want to be a restaurant manager one day. But my work right now, what I choose, right, I go and be a radio DJ. Total mismatch. Some skills you say, okay, arguably some skills can bring over. But it's very difficult to do that way and go. So this is what we call a career pathway. Is to understand that what you are applying for, what comes after that. Like when you study back in, even right now, or even back in primary or secondary school, you finish standard one, you know you go to standard two. Standard two finish, you know you go to standard three. So work also operates the same way. Knowing what you're applying for, what you are getting yourself into, will lead to later on in the future. Like last time, when you guys entered high school, I mean, you guys had to choose between science stream, art stream, this kind of thing. So when you talk science stream, you might be thinking, okay, certain subjects I might want to take during university. Maybe your parents don't do that, maybe your friends do that. So you know that by taking this, I can go to that. Or you even right now, some of you might be taking diploma in foundation. I take this foundation, I can take this degree, I can take this transfer program. So you know there is a planning. Work is also like that. It can be like that. So that's why you need to understand career pathway works like this. And if you have something, your goal, your pipeline, in the future, then there are steps to take. Alright. So to all this up, if let's say you didn't remember a single thing I mentioned just now or a single thing I said, I hope that these things are something ways that you guys can bring home with you. If you if you thought that I was blabbing on and on and on, and you guys can't remember anything, these are the few things I hope you guys can remember. Alright? So, like I said just now, You guys are about to step up, you guys are about to start your professional career soon, I hope. Start working harder, see harder. Why I say so? Leading back to the career is a part, it will be a part of your life. If you plan to work until retirement, or you at least plan to work 10, 20 years, it's going to take up half of your current life, equivalent to half your life by then. You're now 20 plus, you're 20 years, you're 40 years old, you would have been working half your life. So, would you go on with your life without any planning? Or will you treat it so nonchalantly, you don't give any importance, you don't do any planning, you just live day by day? Would you do that to your life? So this is the first thing. Second thing, a job is not just a job. Some might say, I'm just taking a job just to do something, just to settle my financial needs. I just need money right now in the sense that some people just say, I'm taking this job just because I need money. But in the sense where I mentioned like the CV thing, everything builds up. All your experiences builds up. People will look at what you did previously to judge what you will do next. So if you have a track record of being with a boyfriend for 1 day, alright, that's something that you guys might need to pay attention to. And finally, this whole thing might be a very serious topic, it might be very depressing to some of you, right? It's like, I didn't know my talk would be like this. Okay? Do something that motivates you. Do something that will let you constantly tell yourself, I can improve, I can learn. Right now, you guys are paying tuition fees. To make you do that, in the workplace, people are paying you big salary. Alright, to put it simply, you'll be taking salary. And when you are paid to do something, people will expect you to be able to do it. And if you cannot do it, you need to learn. You need to tell yourself, okay, if I want to stay here, I might need to do something about this. And being motivated helps a lot. Rather than you wake up and go and say that, ah, I need to go and work again. Like you shout, wake up at 9, maybe something like that. Okay, wake up at 7, 6, 7 o'clock. Wake up first thing, you need to work again. You need to go office again. This kind of thinking, this kind of attitude, right? It won't help you. A lot of people go through that. But I can only say that it's not helpful. But being motivated really helps. If you like what you're doing, you will improve very fast. Right? So that is generally all I have for today. So I hope you guys managed to take back a thing or two from this session. So I'll leave it to the floor for any questions. We'll go into Q&A before we finish this. Is there any questions from the audience? Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, so I want to ask two questions. First one in 2023. So what are the demand maybe in terms of skill that what people that from the company to hire or select a candidate? And then number two, so okay, this one you mentions that you are, for example, let's say the candidate is come for the interview. So how do you, of course, when we attend for the interview, the candidate will mention that, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, everything is okay, do you miss anything? So how do you pretty sure? So this these candidates are the right one for my company. So how do you, like you make a decision for me?
Okay. All right. So, yeah, very good question. I mean, these are some things that the students might be worried about as well. All right. So, the first one is what sort of skill sets that is required by the industry. Okay. So, first things first, you need to ask yourself what industry that you are going into. You need to ask yourself that what job and what is the industry you're going into. Every company has different demands. Some companies they are a bit more, I'll say, back organization of business to consider B2C. B2C one will be a whole different environment from B2B. Like for myself, I just share a bit about myself. My line of work requires me to speak to my clients. I need to constantly meet with them. So it's a very natural given that my company will require me to be able to be a bit more outspoken, a bit more, I would say, people driven. So technical skills, hands-on, hard skills. It really depends on the industry you're going into. And if you don't know what is it, you can always read up. Like with software engineering, with certain skill sets, right? You can always constantly keep yourself updated. Like, okay, this is something new, it's in demand. You can actually just go and find job descriptions, which is details about what the company needs you for your job. To see what sort of skill set is written there. So once you see, let's say, a software developer requires you to do this, and you see 10 companies are writing the same way, then maybe you know that, okay, this is something that constantly shows up. It's something that quite a lot of people are looking at. That's one way to judge or to justify what's in demand from the industry. So that's why I say the important word, due diligence. You need to do your own work. You need to take the effort. You need to be proactive to go and do a lot of things if you don't have people to refer to. Okay. So to the second question, if let's say a lot of things they don't know how we judge them. Okay. For us personally, how we interview people is a bit more on a personal level. We speak to each candidate, we understand what is it they really want. Because sometimes people are like this. It's very easy to go and say that, oh, I come into a job, this is what I want. I want to be I want to be a manager in 10 years. I want to be able to serve the company to the best of my abilities. But this might not be what they are really thinking. This might all be just answers they learn from the internet as well. It's very common, it's very common. Right? So we learn to take things not at face value, but to really understand what is it that candidates are trying to say, or what is it they really truly think. And a lot of interviewers are starting to also do this to, in a sense, to try and filter out a lot of, I would say, candidates that are just trying to get by. They'll do that. They're putting more effort. So it really requires them to speak to the person as a person, rather than just taking whatever answers they give to them and saying, okay, I will take this as your honest and truthful answer. So does that answer the question? All right. Any other questions?
My name is Yuri. I'm human resource student. I would like to ask one question. What companies are looking for students for internship?
All right. My company is looking for actually. But yeah, because of us, right, our situation, we deal with our clients as well. So we we actually have some clients looking for student interns for different specializations. So let's say for your human resource yourself, we have a few opportunities. So if let's say you like to have other data you feel so good, my colleagues will be able to help you out, to share with you. So because we ourselves we are doing HR, so yeah, I'm glad to share with you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, any questions? Any questions? I see the
Hi,
question.
hello. I have two questions. I have these few experiences with intern students. Like sometimes the students they will come to me and report that why should I do this? Why should I do that? This I'm a human resource background, I'm IT background, and business background, but suddenly I have to do this telemarketing, I have to do this talking up everything. But what normally I would say is that companies are looking for not only what you can do, but they're looking for multi-talent and also multitasking because in our current environment, they're very rigid, they're very aggressive, so you need to survive. So how do you, for example, how can companies overcome these, for example, the young generation of students, they always have this mindset that I have this background, I should do this. I should not do that. So how do you tackle this kind of issues that students who are going for internship? And then number two, students also look for a better work environment in the sense that what the company can provide if they can be absorbed towards a full-time or permanent. So what normally how would you prepare the students for their better career? That's all.
Okay, all right, yeah. A very prominent situation happening nowadays as well. Okay, so I think at the end of the question, deep down towards the question, it's basically a situation of saying that some students will say that the company told me to do A, B, C, D, but when they start work, they are required to do more, which is something that they are not pleased with. They don't understand that situation. Okay, so it can be sort of a generational gap kind of thing, or maybe from how we see it versus the students nowadays, how it happens. So, I think this can be curbed with one very straightforward communication that's raised up during the interview. If let's say companies were to be more frank, or the company itself, if student there's two sides to this. Students what they can do is they can understand the company, they go do research, and you see what the company primarily deals. There's social media nowadays, you can even go to the social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, see the photos, see what they do. Okay? So then you ask yourself, if I were to constantly be doing this, what sort of environment will I be in? If let's say you're constantly doing roadshows and doing events, it's only logical to think that, okay, roadshows and events might usually be held during weekends when crowds are close, when people will turn up. So you might need to be prepared yourself that, okay, I might be required to work on weekends because this is my line of work. This is what I'm signing up to do. So this can be done from the student side. But of course, from the company side, it's also to be a bit more upfront. That's why if let's say the companies are not upfront, then perhaps maybe the students will raise up your interview. That's why I say interview is a two-way communication. If they are not communicating with you, maybe you should raise it up. Because if you don't raise up, they don't raise up, you might be in this situation. You guys need to understand one thing. There are all sorts of people in this world. There are all sorts of culture, there are all sorts of companies. Right? So rather than leave your fate to someone else, if that's something that you're really concerned with, maybe take it into your own hands to make sure it's something you want. if you are really that concerned about it, right? So, okay, does that answer the first question? All right. So, what was the second question?
How would company prepare for those Indian students that you face?
Okay. All right. So, this depends on. This also comes down to proposition. This really comes down to proposition. Because even for ourselves, when we deal with our clients, some of them really do have the intention to have someone on board when they are really fresh doing internship, see how they perform. If let's say they can adapt to the environment, then they can literally promise a guarantee saying that we perform and will get you back if you even if you have to go back to university for a year. That means you go for your internship during your second year, you have to go back to uni for your third year. I'll still wait for you. You still have a guaranteed permanent job once you come back, once you graduate. So we do come across companies like that. So if let's say you really like the company, you have served internship with them for a few months, right? So I'll say averagely maybe 2, 3 months, 3, 4 months. Maybe towards the end you can approach someone, approach a supervisor and ask, hi, is there any opportunities, any permanent positions or opportunities that I can explore once I quit? But of course, make it constructive. First, you need to ask them, how was my performance? You definitely need to understand how you have been faring before you can even think about whether people want to take you on time. If let's say you haven't been performing, then maybe you need to go back and re-evaluate certain things. But if let's say you understand that, okay, I do feel that I've been okay, you guys have been happy with performance, and I really like you guys, I like the company, and I'm happy to join. Is there such an opportunity that we can consider? If you raise up in a professional and a more polite manner, I believe everyone would be more than happy to actually reciprocate that topic. Yeah. So is that answer the question? Thank you. All right. So any other question, guys? If not, then that's all for my session. We'll be at the booth back there if you guys still have any questions. It's on. If you guys want to come and ask us. So that's all. Thank you for having us. Thanks, guys.